Hello dear students, welcome in this online session of 8th standard. Now the lesson which we are gonna refer today in this lesson is depending upon the 9th chapter of this whole book, that is the last chapter. So what is special in this 9th chapter? As you have already seen the topic which I have mentioned on the board, as well the topic detail given on the example wise, like the movement towards the independence, like all the leaks we read in the earlier previous lecture, and today's lecture is depending upon the freedom movement that is related with the 1857. We can say that the movement which was actually a failure movement, but this movement gave a very impetuous, or we can say national freedom fighters in our history era. So what was special in that moment, that we'll discuss in this lecture. Also I'll make you to discuss about the freedom movement of the revolt 1857, along with these kinds of resources, the social religious reforms. Then we'll go to the economical reasons, apart from that political reasons, the planning and the conservation of the revolt, how the revolt started also at that time, what were the fault in the revolts and all, why it was not successful, why it is said as the 1857 revolt as a failure revolt also. Everything we'll be discussing here, and apart from that we'll be also going with the military resources. Then we'll be going to the Mangla Pandey. He is one of the you can say like the first revolutionary matriarch of the 1857 revolt. And then we'll be discussing about the immediate reasons too. So these are the basic topic of today's example and this literature in the essays. Well, I'll be making you to understand this this whole of the lesson with the medium of this video lecture. So let's focus on this lecture here. So as we know that, my dear student, why the freedom is consisted, why the freedom is important. The freedom is important just because not only to get the life good, but also to maintain the respect and the sovereignty of the nation, and that's how the freedom is important. Therefore, if we go in the detail form, then we can say that the freedom is also important for the today's generation, the ancient generation, and for each and every people living in the country, because freedom is the only thing which is making us to get all the other rights, and we are also enjoying all our regular we can say constitutional remedies and many more kinds of benefits too here. So we need freedom more than the benefits than to the respect of the nation too here. Now what is freedom? If you'll ask me what is freedom, then here my answer will be very simple, common and easy, that the freedom means your liberty should not be disturbing others' liberty, and others' liberty should not be interfering in yours liberty. Everybody is liberal, everybody is liberated in this nation. Doesn't mean that everybody will be using their liberty, using their freedom of speech, using their freedom of movement in the nation, freedom of we can say getting their own culture, custom, festivals and all, and it can be getting to the disturbance to the other level. So they should be obeying these kinds of things, but it means that in a limited amount, that should not be disturbing to anyone. Now if we check about the lesson shows the lesson number 9, the freedom movement of the India. Why the freedom was consisted? The word freedom, why it was needed and why it was so much important for India? Just because we can check that, okay, why it is important, then the answer will be very much easy, that if any nation is actually under the rule of Britishers or under the policy of slavery policy, then freedom is the word which is very important, and the freedom is the only key factor for which we need to die also for the nation. Therefore we can say nationalism emerged in India in the time of freedom fighting movements, due to not only the arrival of the Europeans, but also we can say that the behavior and the policies which the European came in India. Therefore we can say that nationalism like Vande Mataram slogans, Inqilab Jindabad, Tum mujhe khoon do, main tumhe azadi dunga, these all kind of the slogans are actually boiling up our blood, and it is making us to fight for the nation, not with the nation. It is making us to fight for the nation. So we are fighting for the nation. But why these kinds of things we are needing? We are needing because to free out our nation. Therefore we can say that these all the policies are actually coming from the ancient time, and that's how the factors are responsible for the freedom movement and consolidating the movements too here. Now focusing on the first topic, reasons for the outbreak of the revolt, 1857 CE century. So what was that? See, the main reason of the revolt was that in the 1857 CE was that widespread of the awareness, and also among the people, if we talk about that, the people in India, and also due to the suspension policies, suppression policies and other the policies which the Britishers adopted, we can say that the empire in India, Britishers expanded, and that's how we can say our people came out with the outbreaking laws of the revolt 1857. That's how we can understand that when the Britishers were making us to struggle, well, we were struggling to live on our motherland, then we needed to take out one of the revolt that was related with the revolt of 1857. That is the revolt which was actually failed out. Now why was the revolt failed out, that also will be discussing in this lecture. But before we discuss, we need to move to the social reforms, social and religious resources, or we can say reasons and all, whatever you can call it out. It is actually given on your page, and that is also I have described here. You can check it out, the page number 53, which is actually written here by myself here. So if you go more further, my dear student, then you can understand that social and religious reforms, it means that the policy of the reform that was actually made by the company, or the reforms by the company, made people feel insecure towards their religious, means towards their dharmas and all, and therefore we can say they felt that this government and this Britishers, we can say the whole inertia of the Britishers are going to make us to move over the different religion and the language also, and we will be actually we will be actually forgetting our language, our custom, culture, religious and all. Therefore we can say that they were thinking that Britishers are gonna destroy our religious, our culture, our mannerism and all the ethics, since we are following from the ancient time, but we are following from the ancient time. So that's how we can say that at the time many revolts were internally organized, and therefore we can say Indian culture and religion was now in the somehow in the risky zone as per the Indian people. Now vice versa, if you talk about the people of the India, believe that the Indian people, especially in the social system, my dear student, that the society was actually at that time, they were actually of the orthodox. So emergency of the airways, then railways, and we can say like postal service, telegraph service, military, jails and all these started in India, and they were thinking that yeah, this is not a good thing, and India is going to become like Britishers country, and we all are going to forget our religion. Therefore we can say that dissatisfaction among them came out, and as a result many people joined the revolt. They actually joined the freedom movement, and that's how we can say they sustained it socio-religious structure to here. So if just you assume, my dear student, if all the people are going for the revolt of the nation only, then who will earn? And if nobody is going to earn, nobody is going to get the proper benefits regarding the financial status and all, then what will be the condition at that time? So I can tell you, my dear student, that at that time the condition will be worse, and therefore we can say that there will be coming the economical crisis too here, that is the economical reasons here. So now see, one thing we need to clarify here, my dear student, that economical reason means the reasons which are related with the economical policies, and the policies which are actually related with the general terms of theory related to your home, related to your economical balance, related to your general structure of the money, finance and lots of kinds of things too here. So that's how we can say that general kind of theory and the process of the economical reasons can be also seen out here. Now what are the economical reasons? Let's check it out here. See, economic policy and the reasons. If you talk about the war at that time, which was not actually started internally, it was somehow burning out. So we can say the East India Company, actually it was ruling there. So the aim of the Britishers was to bring actually the property and the prosperity of England on the account of, or on the cost of Indian people. Therefore we can say that it was resulting most of the Indian people to become poor, most of the improper management, most of the farmers, they became like jobless, they became farmless, landlords and all. So somehow we can say it was the treaty, it was the conspiracy in which we can say England was prosperity, in England was actually getting prosperity over the name of the India, where the India was actually fading its glittering shine, especially from the Bengal, Bihar, Gujarat, Punjab and other part of the zone of the southern India too here. So that's how we can say that this is the basic reason, because of, we can say, Indian people also went for the fight here. But when they went for the fight, Britishers thought that we need to import, we need to manufacture, we need to make out the political reasons too here. So we can say that, my dear students, see, political is politics and political reasons, whatever you call it out. this all the systematic theory is actually a dirty game policy. Therefore we can say that the East India Company acquired the Diwani rights. Now what is the meaning of Diwani rights? The right for the collection of the revenue. And if you don't know what is the meaning of revenue, then I can tell you, my dear student, that in the today's world we say about money, finance, tax, like that kind of thing here. So therefore as a result we can say that somehow victory in the battle of Buxar 1764, Sirajud-Dowla, Nawab of Awadh, and at the time victory of the battle of Buxar 1764, this was actually followed by an aggressive policy of the expansion. Aggressive policy means a very rude policy of the expansion with the help of subsidiary alliance, which was also introduced by governor generals. So therefore we can say that doctrine principles, or we can say doctrine of the lapse, and somehow the policy of the annexation policies, the policies of, we can say, the diplomacy, other policies and all, most of the lands and most of the, we can say, reasonable resources were taken by the Britishers. So that was the political examples given by the Britishers, in which we can say that the Britishers were making some kinds of rules and regulations in which they were thinking that the people, the king, the queen, who are without the heirs, the land, their all the properties and all, everything is to be taken by the Britishers, and they'll be living without the land and the property too here. In the meanwhile, we can say that at the time Queen of Jhansi, or we'll discuss about the Jhansi's queen in the detail, just I'm giving you some kinds of general information today in this lecture, that landlords and the peasants became without their lands, they lost their lands and all, and somehow we can say that at the time Rani Lakshmibai of Jhansi and somehow Raja Kunwar Singh of Bihar and other who were among few victims of this policy of the Britishers were about to somehow join the revolt from the regional areas and all, and they were trying to suppress the Britishers also. So that's how we can say that the Britishers policy of the annexation, the policy of the political affairs, the policies of Diwani rights and all were the policies in which we can understand easily, my dear students, that Britishers were profiting England on the account of India, where the India was neglected and India was just suppressed like a poor state of the nation. Now if this kinds of systematic theory is happening, then obviously, as I made you understand, Raja Kunwar Singh, then Jhansi's Rani and all the Queen of Jhansi, they all are coming for the battle. So now what will happening there? There must be the military reasons. That is the military reasons. Now what are the military reasons? See, one thing you need to understand, military reason means in this reason we can say that like the people are trying to fight what for the nation. Okay, so this thing was happening from the both the side, from the Indian side also as well as from the British sides too here. So let's see it out here. What is the detailed information given there? Now if you talk about the military reasons, which is given already on the page number 53, that is the first page number, then you can easily understand that the number of the British officers, actually like the soldiers and all, were less in the country. If you talk about, were less vast in the country, but like the ratio of the Indian soldier, if you talk about, then the British soldiers were approximately 6:1. Apart from that in the military, but the highest pay scale was given to the Britishers only, where the Indians were limited and the soldiers were given very limited amount of the currency or the limited amount of salary also. So that was the dissatisfaction creating among the people who were actually fighting for the Britishers in India. See, my dear student, you need to understand, whenever we are working, actually whenever we are working, we need to work for the pay scale, and every of the pay scale should be equal according to our work, according to the jurisdiction also. But if any kind of government, any kind of we can say institute or any kind of other kind of department is actually making our policies to be ruined out, where we are not getting the proper policies of the benefits and we are not getting about the good amount of salaries also, and especially there is a partialities, then we need to fight for the nation here. So what was the partialities? Let's talk about what was the partialities. See here, the Indian first soldiers, we can say that the Indian foot soldier who were the walking on the foots were actually receiving 7 rupees. Can you imagine? Just 7 rupees, and the British soldier receives 150 rupees, that is many times multiple of the 7. Therefore we can say that this is how the soldiers considered the Indian soldier to be the low caste and the low grounded soldier. They were insignificant also, and as per the religious reforms and all, we can say that restrictions were also there. Therefore the Indian people, Indian soldiers were not feeling secured in the Britishers army and all. As well, they were also suppressed and they were threatened on the basis of outcaste, low caste and other we can say discriminations were with them. So therefore we can say the battles and all were going further internally, and the Indian soldiers thought that why don't we fight with the people of the Britishers, including our own religion people, our own Indian people and our own brothers here. Therefore the same sentiments towards the brothers, means the Indian soldiers were having the same thought of belief, and they came out for the suspicious anger and other, we can say that, old mythologies also, where they fought with the Britishers, and that was also just like an immediate reasons. So what was that? That was actually going to the immediate reason, which was also relating towards the planning of the revolt of Mangla Pandey. So we discussed about the military power also, and now I'll made you to understand about the immediate reasons. So what is the immediate reason? Let's see out here. See, there was a dissatisfaction among the Britishers, as well as more dissatisfaction among the Indian people too. Britishers were dissatisfied because they were not getting 100% amount of the money from India, and Indian people were dissatisfied, or we can say they were not satisfied, just because the India was looted on the account of England, and nobody was helping India on the international level also, until the Subhash Chandra Bose and other leaders came forward. So literally we can say that there was various reasons, lots of reasons are there, but we'll discuss about some of the reasons here. There were the various reasons among the anger, discontinuity with the armies and all among the people towards the Britishers, also the Indian people who were actually working in the British Academy or the British Army as a soldier. They left the battalion, they just came out here, and we can say that in the January 1857 a new rifle at that time was also introduced. Now what was the name of the rifle? It was named as, somehow we can say, Enfield rifle. Now if you don't know, then you need to understand Enfield is a place actually in the London, and therefore we can say that the new rifle was also introduced in the Indian Army. Now according to the norms, according to its technical theory, the cartridge of this rifle had to be bitten by the molar teeth, or we can say premolar teeth. You need to bite, open the cap, put the bullet inside, and then you need to fire out here. So it was good enough until they came to know that the grease used to fix that cap of the bullet. Just I'll show you one of the example, my dear students. See, just for example, this is a cap of a bullet, and here you can find the bullet shell. Okay, so this cap must be opened by your mouth, okay, by your under your teeth, and therefore we can say that it was bitten by the teeth. But according to the religious, we can say that some of the Brahmins were also there, some of the Muslims were also there in the party of Britishers as a soldier, and they gave the weapon to the Indian soldiers कि भाई चलो fight करना है, आप लोग हमारे soldiers हो. So therefore we can say that the reason was that कि actually the grease was used by the pig and the cow's fat. So pig was, we can say, it is actually pork for the Muslim, and the cows are the pork for the we can say Hindus. They both are religiously not accepting this thing. So therefore we can say they're dissatisfied and they discontinued. Hence we can say 19th battalion, remember this answer, 19th battalion Barakpur was actually the first people or the first soldiers who actually came out, and they said that we will not use this kind of rifle, we are not going to use this kind of rifle. And as the nation, we can say, as a result, entire battalion was also disbanded, means the battalion was somehow dismissed, because they were doing some kinds of as per the British rule, it was like rude attitude towards the Britishers by their own soldiers who were actually the Britishers. So somehow we can say that the Britishers were actually thinking that we need to discontinue these soldiers, but they were forgetting that these soldiers will be only the soldiers who will be actually planning the revolt of 1857, and among them the leader will be the Mangla Pandey. Let's check it out, the detailed theory about the Mangla Pandey. Now, planning of the revolt by the Mangla Pandey. Who was Mangla Pandey? Okay, that also we'll understand, and also we'll understand about the planning of the revolt. So first of all, we'll be learning about the planning of the revolt, and later we're going in the detailed theory with the Mangla Pandey too here. Now see, it was planned to the revolt that somehow across the nation, my dear student, that against the East India Company we need to fight here. And on the May 31st 1857, we can say that the leaders like Nana Sahib Peshwa, the leaders like, we can say, other Bahadur Shah Zafar, then Kunwar Singh and all, like lots of leaders are there. Dekho, why do we need leaders? Why do we don't need common people, we need leaders, because leaders are the only key factor which are actually making us to guide out here properly. And that's how we need this kinds of leaders. And leaders, as we can say that, like leaders are the only ladders who are making us to climb on the basic benefits of the systematic theory, where we can plan some of the revolt related to the 1857. So we can say it was planned as, like we can say in the revolt, that the Bahadur Shah Zafar will be there, the Nana Sahib Peshwa will be there, Tatya Tope, etc., etc., we can say, who was also commander in general chief, and the Nawab of Awadh and all. They all planned this revolt together on the date of 31st of the January, May 1857. And laterly we can say that they also accomplished some of their internal battles too. Laterly we can say that they also made their own army group, army commanders and all. Rangoon at the time, if it's a Rango Bapuji, then other also accompanied them. And with the emergence of Tatya Tope, then Azimullah Khan as a lawyer and the civil journalist also, we can say that the revolt was actually going on a very impatient mode. Now what was their symbols? As we know that every revolt consists of a symbol. Now symbolic thinking gives us the example related to the concept of the theory, where the lotus and the roti was used as a symbol here. Now why the symbols are used, lotus and the rotis? Because somehow we can say that it was actually one of the priority symbol from the Indian people and the Indian respect also. Therefore we can say that lotus and the roti was the symbol to join the civilians and to fight with the Britishers, against the Britishers. So we can say soldiers came forward and they respectively fought also. These were the symbols which was circulated across the nation. Means those who want to actually oppose the Britishers use the symbol of lotus and the roti. So laterly we can say that somehow the Muslim priest also came forward. Somehow we can say the Bards and the Hindus, the Muslims also priest came forward. The Auliyas also messaged. They also played a well role important inside this battle and theory. And laterly we can say that it was actually the revolt which was spreading all over the nation. So therefore we can say the revolt planning was done under the conspiracy of some of the leaders, where we can say Mangla Pandey was the person who actually came out with such a motion belief, with such a motivational theory, where he was ready to die for the nation. And he also shot two of the British soldiers to here, you can call like sepoys. Now let's check it out, the detailed theory about the Mangla Pandey. Mangla Pandey opposed the war, means against the Britishers. He was actually following the war and he fought. He used the cartridge grease, and see, Mangla Pandey opposed the use of the we can say the cartridge, which was actually greased by the entire, we can say that internally, with the cows and pigs fat. As per the fixed date, he was also disturbed by the Britishers, and laterly we can say that at the planning of objective and the revolts and all, he could not be achieved his aim, and therefore we can say Mangla Pandey was shot by the Britishers and he was also caught by the Britishers. Laterly he was hanged till death. That will be understanding the detail. So how was his childhood days, where he was born? Okay, what is his biography? Let's check it out here. See, Mangla Pandey was actually born to a Brahmin family, a Brahmin couple family in the Nagwa village of the Uttar Pradesh United Province. In the ancient time it is known as the United Province. And laterly we can say that he joined the British army as a soldier, also at the same amount of the salary, that was 7 rupees as a salary. So the Indian soldier who has agreed for the revolt along with him were also waiting. They're also like they were wanted to wait till 31st May and agreed for the revolt to here. And but we can say that wherever 26-year-old Mangla Pandey could not wait till the date of 31st of the May and other month also. So what happened? He refused to follow the orders using the Enfield rifle, and somehow he challenged the British officers alone. He was actually different from his league of the other Britishers, and he alone challenged the British officers that I will not use that. And therefore we can say that at that time there was a huge kind of it's like we can say battle, means the word battle, just the like discussion going on with the Britishers and the Mangla Pandey too here, where Mangla Pandey was so impatient, he was so furious, he was actually, my dear student, thinking that rather to use this Britishers bullets and all, I would select my resignation from this job. and therefore we can say that however at that time Major Husseins and all ordered him to arrest also, but he actually ran from here, and he was thinking that I should be not coming in the hand of the Britishers, and I'll plan my own battle, and I'll just somehow fight with the Britishers. So literally what happened when the Mangla Pandey was actually, when he ran from there, he met with a couple of people, but before meeting the couple of people, we can say that he defeated most of the another British officers too here, and therefore Indian soldiers too here, following the arrest and following the footprint of Mangla Pandey, they were also refusing to use this kinds of materialistic we can say like a weapon or the cartridge. So a bleeding Mangla Pandey, we can say a bleeding body with the Mangla Pandey was taken to the hospital when he ran by shooting two of the British officers. So he was also being shot by the British officer and he was bleeding, so he was carried out to the hospital, and therefore we can say that it was like it was like planned by the Britishers that we should kill that guy, we should not keep that Mangla Pandey, we will kill that person. So the military court preferred to kill Mangla Pandey and make a case run against him on the April 6, 1857. We can say that the entire proceeding case was against the British, against the Mangla Pandey, and laterly we can say it was also sentenced to death. Means Mangla Pandey, what he did, he refused. All the Britishers were so much shocked out. Indian soldiers followed the Mangla Pandey. Mangla Pandey shot the Britishers, he ran from there. British officers shot Mangla Pandey, they caught him, they kept him in a hospital. When he was recovering, they made a case against him, and also regarding the revolt of 1857 and opposition and many more kinds of cases and all. Okay, that's how we can say the patriotism was now in the Mangla Pandey, and Mangla Pandey was not going to follow the British rule. So the Britishers thought that okay, we need to hang him. So we can say he was actually hanged till death at 5:30 a.m. on 8th of the April, and that's how we can say he became mortal. He became like a person who was also and is and will be known as the first martyr of the revolt 1857. I hope student you are understanding the contribution which is given by the Mangla Pandey, and you are also understanding the contribution which is given for the nation of India, and which is given also with the nation of India by the people of India, by the freedom fighting people of India, and also by the, we can say, strong motion, belief and strong strategy which was actually seen at the time of, we can say, British rule by the Indian people. Now this was not it, my dear students. See, this was not it. If you go more further, then I would like to tell you that the revolt was still spread out, and the leaders were coming out, like the last Mughal emperor Bahadur Shah Zafar, the Bahadur Shah Zafar also came out here for the revolt. So we can say that okay, like lots of people were emerging in the revolt. So let's see out about the last topic of today's lecture, that is the Bahadur Shah Zafar. Now see, he was at the Sultanate place of the Delhi, and therefore we can say that the soldiers reached Delhi from the Maratha, that is the Meerut. Also at the time it was known as the Meerut, and today also it is known like Meerut only. And somehow in this area, we can say in the morning of 11th May, he could not and when the soldiers reached there, they could not capture him, he just ran away. So with the help of the Indian soldiers and the priests, somehow they were convinced that this person will not caught out. And do you know what was the age at the time of the Bahadur Shah Zafar? It was like 80-year-old. He was like a Mughal emperor. So Bahadur Shah Zafar, to accept the leadership of the revolt, this news was actually infused in between the nation, and somehow the new life revolt was also starting there. So the region of Indian people also joined Bahadur Shah Zafar, where he was also planning to get for the revolt and against the Britishers. So my dear students, see, all this lesson, all this cultural we can say, whatever the epic stories I'm telling you related to the freedom fighting movement and patriotism is relating with the general theory of our revolt of, we can say, 1857, that is the freedom movement of 1857. And I hope you are actually getting the proper example, relative factors, theories also in this lesson, chapter number 9 of 8th standard SS. And we'll be taking this lecture more forward in the second part. This is part number 1, and we'll be meeting in the second part. Till then, you can keep revising, get some Google search also, detailed theory about these kinds of leaders. Take care. Jai Hind.